Welcome to your journey of healing with the Healing Podcast, hosted by licensed clinician Monique Owe and co-host Dr. Amber Mohn.
Thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. I am your host, Monique Owe, and I am joined by my lovely co-host here,
Dr. Amber Mohn.
Okay, so everybody, Dr. Mohn is back. We've missed her. You know, it's the summer, what's going on, and Dr. Mohn has joined us again, so we're happy to have her back. Today's topic is, it's been time to go, but you chose to stay. But before I get into the topic at hand, Dr. Mohn, how you been? How was your summer?
Oh my gosh. Summer was crazy, Monique, but I enjoyed it and I am good. I'm glad to be back.
Well, I'm glad to have you back.
Thank
you know, I missed you. Our listeners, I know they missed you. So we're glad to go ahead and jump into the dialogue because I know people are probably tired of hearing me, just me. But anyway, here we go. So Dr. Mohn, the topic today, you know, it's been time to go. Now, here's the thing. I know I could say a job, right? It's been time for you to let that job go. But you've chosen to stay. But that's not what I'm talking about. That's a whole different topic, though. I'm talking about relationships. When you know you probably should have left a long time ago, but you have made the decision to stay, and here we are. So, Dr. Mohn, let me ask you, why do people stay when they know they should have left?
Oh, Monique, there's a lot of reasons now. Like I said, one main reason is time. A lot of times we'll stay in something because we put, so many years and all of this hard work, and you feel like, no, we've been together for this long, we just got to work it out. And then we have kids. We're doing it for the kids, Monique. We're staying together and making this work for the kids.
What a kid.
And then there's abuse, be physical, mental.
Yeah.
Where you're scared to leave.
That's true.
So those are some main things that I would say, main reasons. Money.
Yeah.
Oh,
money.
Finances.
Yes, finance is a big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because sometimes you may want to leave, but you don't have the resources to leave, right?
Right.
Well, I think that is all true, Dr. Mohn. That timing is something. When you're used to someone, I get it. That person knows you, you know them, right? You built all this time together to build this foundation, however rocky it might be now, but you are used to them, right? Because you're comfortable, I'm assuming, for the most part. Why do you want to break that? Starting over is not necessarily easy.
Right.
For those out there, we did a whole episode on starting over.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, coming back to this, I guess I would say, I don't know if you said, I think sometimes fear keeps us.
Yes.
We're afraid of what might be out there, outside of that person. Because we might feel like, am I being too picky? Am I complaining about something or worried about something and it's really not that big of a deal? And if I jump out there, am I going to find something worse? Or even beyond that, am I ever going to find anybody else? So before I remain single forever, that's the mentality. I'd rather stay with this person here. What is that saying? Trust the devil that you know. Something like that it says. I'm not saying that's the best quote, but I'm just saying sometimes I feel like, well, at least I know this person here. Well, Dr. Mohn, okay, it's fair enough. So, okay, for whatever reason, a person has decided to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, how is their life going then? Because if this is a situation where they probably should have left, they can't be happy then.
No.
So they're not happy?
No.
Okay.
I think sometimes we forget what happiness is. I mean, happiness becomes just coexisting. Mm-hmm. And, the things that I guess you forget what you want out of a relationship.
Yeah.
What happy is. So those are the dangers. And then those are the dangers of staying in something when you know that you shouldn't be in it because, you're just coexisting.
Yeah.
And wasting time. And Monique, I know you've heard me say this a lot. I'm not one to want to waste time.
Don't want to waste time.
Well, so.
Yeah. I think, is there a guilt associated? I think sometimes people also feel, even if they're the person who knows, I should have left this a long time ago. We'll get into the reasons why you probably should have left, right? Whatever might be happening. But because of all these reasons, you probably should have left a long time ago. But maybe you feel a sense of guilt because if I leave, does that make me a bad person? I didn't choose to stay in the fight, as people some people say you got to fight for it, right? You got to fight for your relationship. Definitely when they say fight for your marriage. So people feel like if I leave this, I feel a sense of guilt because I'm the one who let go, right? So I think that plays a factor too, right? Now, then when you mentioned the children.
Yes.
Well, would the age of the children matter? Like, what if the kids are small, or if they're teenagers or adult children, I guess. I don't know if that would matter anymore. But if they're teenage age versus toddler age, would that play a factor, do you think? Or it's just still the same? It's just no matter what, it's children?
I don't think it matters because we're adults. We can co-parent. My thing is, I feel like as long as the child feels loved, whether you're in the house or you're not, as long as they see you, co-parenting together and being a team and, loving them despite your relationship, it shouldn't matter. Kids see and feel everything. So, and when you talk about them being younger, you're teaching them how to be in a relationship. They're going to take what you do. So if dad is always sleeping on the couch, or dad is, in and out, or mom is, they're learning that. And so it's best to separate so there's peace. Okay. So it's not eerie walking in the kitchen when nobody's talking to each other. Like, we don't know. I personally don't know how that feels, and I can't imagine how a child would feel growing up in that environment. Right.
Wow, that's deep. Thank you, Dr. Mohn, for that. That is true. We don't know in the eyes of that child how they feel. Like, we remember when we were children, but we don't know how our children feel if we're in a situation and they're seeing this and what it's doing to them. So that is true. So sometimes, however, the children, if the reason you're staying is for the children, you have to really look at that, because you might be doing more damage to the children, right, by staying. But let's look into, why do you should have been left? Like, what is the reason? Like, for example, okay, let's talk about it. Well, we know the big one, infidelity, right? If one of the partners in the relationship has been unfaithful, that's probably a reason why maybe you would have or should have left. Now, how many times, that's up to you. Maybe one time was enough. I don't know. But maybe it's been 5 times. I don't know. That might have been a reason, right? Right, Dr. Mo, why a person probably knows they should have left.
Right.
Another reason might be the person just does not give you any affection, any attention. They're always into themselves and what they have to do. And you have just kind of, well, whenever they give me some attention, I'll just take it. So, you're not getting that love and attention. That's another reason why you probably know you should have been left, because you're not getting what you need. Dr. Mo, what's another reason somebody might be facing that they know they should have left, even though they saw all these things, but they still there? What's another reason you think?
I would just say, sometimes we grow apart. Sometimes, you're going in one direction, they're going in another. And, when you're not doing the same things that you were doing together, when you enjoy not being with this person, those are probably signs that you're starting to grow apart. Constant arguing, it doesn't feel the same. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go to counseling and you can't work on it because you still love this person, but sometimes you have to ask yourself, am I still in love with this person? Do I still like being affectionate with this person? If it makes your skin crawl for this person to touch your arm or to watch a movie together, you probably grown apart. Right. And so you stop communicating, and you just kind of just start doing, living differently, more like roommates than you are, husband and wife or fiance, whatever, you are in your relationship. So,
Yeah, that's true. I think also, one of those things where it's, and I guess maybe this sounds a little better as to why you probably should have left, if that makes sense. Kind of when one person may have a lot going on. So it's not necessarily the person that they're with, their husband or their wife or their fiance, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's not them per se. It's that person may have a lot that has taken place personally in their life. Maybe health issues has happened, and for that person, their health is such a toll now that it prevents them from being present with their partner. But they've chose to stay because they want to be with their partner. They love them, but they have so much going on. Or maybe they got a family issue. Maybe they got some drama going on in family that's so big that it's taking all of their attention. And the other partner is probably suffering, So I'm going to put it on this person, that the one that has the drama going on or the health issue or whatever, they know they probably should be the one to exit because it's not fair to the other one, but they choose to stay. They choose to stay in it because they're like, well, this is going to pass. I'm going to stay in it. And then for the other partner who is suffering from this, who is still in it, I guess I want to ask you this. Why, Dr. Mohn, would that person say, so we got the one that has the drama.
Yes.
Or whatever. Health, something's going on with them that they're not who they used to be right now. Why would the person that's on the suffering end, why would they choose to stay in that? Because they see what's going on with that other person.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I would say, they love and care for them. Maybe they think that, this is temporary, and once this drama is over, we can get back to how we were. Maybe they feel just an obligation. They care about them and, want to help them through it. And, probably don't recognize that, you still care about this person. Or are you in love with this person? Do you see yourself with this person long term?
Right. Right. Do you see? Right. That's true. I just wanted to mention those. I think so. Everyone, those are reasons why we know you would stay. You're not really all the way happy at this moment. Whatever's causing unhappiness. Oh, you know what? Another reason is lying.
Oh gosh.
Right. We forgot that one, Dr. Mohn. If one of you is constantly lying, that's probably the reason you should leave. Because I'm assuming because that person, maybe you caught them in a lot of lies, you probably don't trust them. And I don't think you can stay in anything that there's no trust there. I don't think it's going to work because you're always going to be suspicious. You can try to get over it, but I think you're always going to question everything that person does, right? So that's another reason why you probably should have been left, right? And I think if you're losing yourself, who you really are, like you at the core, right? Because you are still you. Even though you're in a relationship or marriage, you're still you. And you bring a certain element. If you've lost everything about you in this relationship at this point, I would say that's probably another reason why you should have left a long time ago. So we talked about why people should have left, but we talked about also why they choose to stay, right? And then that money thing is serious. I mean, it's expensive out here. I don't care how much money you make, it still cost is high. And if you're not able to sustain yourself, you will stay because you have no place to go. But when we'll talk about what it's doing to you and how you can maybe get the strength to make a decision in a little bit, we're just going to go ahead and make a quick segue here. You know what? You guessed it. It's time for the situation. Dr. Mohn, what's our situation for today?
Okay, here we go. Our situation. Dear Healing Podcast. This is about a couple I know. So they have been engaged for a year. Together for 4 years total. Their wedding is set for early next year. They are pretty much compatible in most things. The area where they have an issue is finances. She makes more money than him, but he has less debt than she does. He is able to save more than she can, and he can do more with his money. Now that they are discussing combining bank accounts, etc., she feels since he has less debt, he should be able to take care of all the finances when they get married. His issue is not this. His issue is the mortgage on the house that she wants will double their monthly housing payment, but also increase the other expenses, i.e. maintenance for things, HOA, landscaping, etc. So this means he will need her to handle a few things like groceries and her car note. He's suggested that they either get a smaller house or continue to rent for now and save. She is not really going for it, and this has them at a sort of a crossroads. So my question is, how can they come to a compromise? Wow. That's, I appreciate you for sending this in. This is a interesting situation. Yeah. So, I always believe, and I just have to say it how I feel. I always feel people shouldn't live beyond their means.
Okay.
If we haven't learned anything else with all of it, what's going on today is that anything can happen, Monique. Inflation, layoffs, pandemic, you can lose your job. I mean, you name it. And so what concerns me is that the house note for this new house is going to double, and I don't know. It's been a while since we bought our house, but I didn't know. They're typically 30-year. We typically, do a 30-year fixed mortgage. So 30 years, we're going to be locked in to this number. Now, we can refinance and do all that kind of stuff, but a lot of things can come into play. Children, sickness, like I said, inflation, job loss, a pandemic. I think that it's important to look at, can we sustain these things for years to come? It sounds good, a new house, a new big house. But yeah, HOA is coming every year, and it is not set in stone. It can be raised. Landscaping, house, once your house, I don't know if you're getting this house built or if it's already, been built and somebody's ever, lived in it. But like, you're going to have house repairs. You're going to have car notes, groceries going up. What I suggest, and then she has debt. Now I understand that he has less debt and he's smart and and things of that nature, with his money. But I think that if anything happens, you have all this stuff to pay for with this house and stuff. And then on top of that, you have debt that you're going to have to pay. I don't know if it's student loans or whatever it is. So my suggestion will be to continue either renting or to get a smaller house to where it does not, or just another house, foreclosure or anything, so that the mortgage is not doubled. And then work on your debt. Work on her debt. Get that out of the way. Try to keep your expenses as low as possible, your house note as low as possible. That would be my suggestion. Monique, what you think?
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mohn, for your response, and thank you for writing into the Healing Podcast. I think, how can you compromise? I think, everything Dr. Mohn said, I'm not going to repeat. Everything Dr. Mohn said is on point. I think, how can you compromise this? I think you need to look at, first of all, the important thing is you love each other. You guys made a decision to get married, to form this bond, this union. I think the compromise is you don't have to get everything you want right now. You can get that bigger house later. You can get those things you want later because you guys are building a future together. So the compromise is focus more so on the love, right? Building a home. A home is what you make it. It does not matter the size of the house. It's the home, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a smaller house. So the compromise I think here would be, and it's not a bad compromise. I hate to say the word compromise. It's focus on the love and the bond. Remember that. And the compromise would be, you're going to have to get the smaller home or the rent. Keep the rent. I guess what it means that maybe you're going to move in with him or he's going to move in with you. So you have one rent, because a double mortgage, let me tell you, right now, I don't care how cheap you get a house, even if you put a big down payment, I'm going to assume that mortgage is probably the cheapest, maybe $1,000 in this day and age. That's if you can find one that price. So a double that means it's $2,000. And I just went low. I went real low. I doubt it's that price now. I went real low. Imagine having double that payment, but also two people with now that have debt that are unifying now, right? That's one big debt. Even though he has less, you have yours. It's now one debt. Now you added on expenses of the house, everything else. So the compromise there would be to not stress yourself, not make yourself sick and crazy, which is going to make you guys angry at each other. It might cause a divide. I would say focus on the love and the union. That's the compromise there. Focus on why you got married. It wasn't for the money, I'm going to assume. It was because you wanted to be together. Focus on that. Make that the priority. And then as you continue to build and work on things, you guys will have more money and you can buy that bigger house a little later. That'll be what I would say. I hope that's been helpful to you. Thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. If you are out there and you want to write into the Healing Podcast, make sure you can email support@thehealingpodcast.com, or you can go to thehealingpodcast.com website, hit the contact tab. And let's go ahead and make sure we give a word to our sponsor.
Are you someone who has been considering therapy? Perhaps someone else has told you that you need to talk to a therapist. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you want to discuss some challenges that you've been facing with your significant other. Maybe there's a communication issue, perhaps an incident of infidelity. Or maybe you just want to strengthen your relationship because you guys are thinking about taking another step. Maybe you're struggling with anxiety or depression, perhaps grief, life stressors, and you just want to share your thoughts with someone. Well, consider contacting Healing Expressions. Healing Expressions is a private practice located in the Atlanta, Georgia area. You will be given a session at an affordable price with a licensed therapist. If this resonates with you, consider going to healingexpressionsllc.com, reading about the practice, and hitting the contact tab to see if you can book a session. All right. Thank you so much. And back to the Healing Podcast.
Okay. So now back to the topic at hand. Spend time to go. Well, we've discussed why a person might stay. We've discussed the reasons they probably should have left because of all that was going on in their relationship. So now let's talk about what it's doing to you. We already said that you can't be happy. There's no way you're happy. in something like that. So we know your happiness is probably faded. You think they're a little bit stressed out, Dr. Mohn? They in that?
Just a little bit? Yeah.
You're probably going through a little bit of a stress, right? How about their attitude, Dr. Mohn? Do they have a positive, upbeat attitude in a relationship that they should have been left? How's their attitude towards people and things?
And I'm glad you said towards people, because my thing is, I've bumped into and been around unhappy people, and they tend to be very negative.
Yeah.
And just always negative. So I would say, are you that person? Are you that person? Because whatever's going on at home, even when you step out and you're around happy people, you're always negative.
Yeah, I think so. You're probably going through, so you're unhappy, maybe a little bitter, you're negative, maybe you're depressed too. I'm going to assume you're probably depressed, right? So I'm going to assume that's affecting your health. I'm assuming your health can't be that great right now. Maybe your weight is going up and down, or other health conditions have come up because you're so stressed because you're trying to stay in something that you should have been left, right? So you're doing more damage to yourself and that other person, and if you have children, than you think you are by you staying, right? And yes, and everybody around you don't maybe see it, but people see, that attitude is horrible. What you don't know is people feel like, I'd rather them not come around because here we're going to have to hear about or deal with their attitude and how nasty they are and how self-centered they are because you're so caught up in your mess because you are in something that you should have been let go. And I'm probably going to say another thing you're probably suffering. You're probably missing out on other opportunities because of this. And I'm not even saying about another relationship yet because that's the whole thing. I'm talking about sometimes when we're so stressed, Dr. Mohn, with a situation, we're blinded. We don't see what might be a good thing in front of us because we're so focused on this relationship. Something great for us could have been right there and we passed it by, right? So you're even missing out on good things for yourself because you're choosing to stay in something that should have been gone, right? Okay, well, Dr. Mohn, how can we leave? Or how can a person leave when they see all this, finally, if they want to?
I think that it's important to think about what's most important. What is it that you want for yourself, for your kids, and for that other person? Leaving doesn't mean, you can't stand that other person and that, it means, they could be out there doing whatever they, want to do. And I can too. Like leaving could be a positive thing. We could learn how to co-parent our kids and be at peace, not be stressed, not be uptight. Like Monique said, the opportunities that are out there, go for them. She talked earlier about us changing ourselves and preventing ourselves from doing things because we're so trying to make this work or doing what the other person wants to do, when that's not what we want to do. Typically, when we get into a relationship, we are ourselves. They like us for us, and then as soon as we get together, then they start to get, a partner starts getting possessive and don't want you to do this, and now you can't go here, and now you can't pursue these dreams. What is more important? What do you want for yourself? Yep. And then start figuring out, how do I get it? Yep. Is it going to be with this person? If it can't be with this person, then we got to figure this out.
Right. So I think focus on what might be better, right? Dr. Mohn is saying focus on what you might be missing out on. That's one reason. One way you can get the strength to leave. I'm going to say another way you can get the strength to leave is stop worrying about what people are going to say. I find sometimes you're not even staying because you want to stay. You're staying because you're afraid of what people's opinion is going to be. You're afraid of what the people in your church might say, or what your family might say, or what your friends might say, or guess what? If you always bragged about your relationship, you're afraid that people are going to finally say, oh, look, I knew their relationship wasn't perfect. That's what they get. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to say is focus on you, not the people. That's one thing.
Can I say something?
Sure.
And you're absolutely right. And 9 times out of 10, they already see something's going on. They've already formed their opinion. So what? My thing is, you stop coming to church with them. You guys are, not as lovey-dovey as you are, not doing things like 9 times out of 10, they already know. Who cares?
Right. It doesn't matter.
No.
Right. And here's the thing. You have to live with you. They don't. And listen, for the people who you think have such an opinion, they got so much to say, trust me, if I put the mirror in their face, they got some stuff too. So don't worry about them. So what I'm going to say is, like Dr. Mohn said, you remember the opportunities you could be missing out on. the happiness you might be missing out on. I'm going to say don't worry about people's opinion. Okay? This has to be between you and that partner. And really, this one's about you. Because you're going to have to make this decision. Don't worry about figuring everything out today. Yes, if it's a financial thing, yeah, you may not be able to afford to leave, but maybe you can start making some decisions, you and that partner. Okay, this is how we can separate in a way where we're both okay. Like, you might still have to temporarily live together, but it will be separate. Like, maybe if you have a 2-bedroom apartment, maybe you will slowly move into the other bedroom so that you slowly are, kind of separate. And maybe then you guys will really decide, okay, this is how we'll really divide the finances, because this is as much as I can afford while you're preparing your actual exit, whoever that is. I don't know which person is leaving. That's what I'm saying. So it's a way to discuss a compromise. Okay. And if you got to go back home, sometimes you got to call a friend or a family. You do got to go back home. I don't care what age you are, 30, 40, 50. Sometimes it happens. If you got to go back home and you have family or friends that will take you in, just think about telling somebody, look, I need some help, and let them help you. So, Dr. Mohn, do you think, Sue, I think taking help is another way to
let that pride go. Let it go.
The pride go. Yep.
Yes.
Let the pride go is another way you can finally let this go. Anything else, Dr. Mohn, about how a person can exit something they know they should have left a long time ago?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and leave everyone with this. Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go. I thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. We appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.